Hello there, gamers. Today Hasbro released a free module, Descent into the Lost Caverns of Tsojcanth, and I decided to have a look through it. One of the first things that I wanted to check out was the pre-generated characters, and I was giving them the same kind of look that this female cleric is giving you right now, because most of these are dog water. You've got Cathartic first off, human cleric. She's got a decent stat spread. I don't like that she doesn't have spirit guardians prepared, because you're not allowed to change your spells out. As far as I'm aware, you can only have one short rest during the adventure, and you start right at the entrance. So not having one of the best cleric spells in the game prepared, that's a big oof. Next up we have Dunil, the halfling rogue. She has a +1 dagger, which why would you ever have a +1 dagger? As a rogue, you probably want a rapier if you're going for a melee weapon. But if you look over here, she has crossbow expert as a feat, but this character is not carrying a hand crossbow. They gave her a light crossbow and a crap ton of daggers for no reason. She has all kinds of thief gear, rope, pitons, flasks of oil, ball bearings. I would like to see this be caltrops instead of ball bearings, honestly. Those are a lot more useful. 2 sets of thieves' tools. Okay, I guess you could break 1 set. That's understandable. She even has a regular short sword, but they chose to give her a magic dagger instead. And no studded leather armor? I mean, this character's level 9. All of these people have 500 extra gold and they haven't bothered to buy better armor? This is ridiculous. And they went for assassin, which I guess is, like, pretty okay. If this rogue is sneaking up on someone and can get a shot off, they'll get an automatic sneak attack crit. It's going to do a lot of damage. You could maybe drop one of the enemies in an encounter, but like infiltration expertise isn't going to be helpful at all. And yeah, I just can't get over this. No hand crossbow with the crossbow expert feat. That's ridiculous. Who in the 7 hells made these characters? Also, you'll notice that she is proficient with the disguise kit and poisoner's kit. This could actually be useful in this adventure, but she doesn't have one. So instead of using her 500 gold on a disguise kit and better armor and stuff, she just has a bunch of junk. Next we have Ethelred, human fighter, super generic. They made him champion. Like, why would you make him champion? You're already a super generic human fighter. Make him a battle master and give him some combat options. Let him make some decisions for the god's sake. They gave him tough, which is pretty good, I guess. I would personally rather have heavy armor master. Reducing physical damage by 3 for every hit is better than 18 HP, but at least they actually gave him a decent inventory. He has a +1 battle axe, which lines up with his dueling fighting style, and someone spent money on plate armor. I don't know how he still has 500 gold when he has 1500 gold plate armor in his inventory. That doesn't make any sense to me, but it is what it is. Anyways, he's got good AC. His adventuring gear is pretty basic. Shovel, he's got a pot, he's got some hand axes to throw. I would like to see these be javelins. They're just better weapons for throwing, but honestly, this is better than the majority of the other characters, so we'll let that slide. Next we have Flemin. I really wanted to love this guy. Look at this art. This is incredible. He's got like silver teeth, a big grin, crazy eyebrows, and a mohawk. What's not to love? Well, apparently the person designing him thought that he shouldn't be loved because they made strength his main stat as a monk. That is absolutely unforgivable. This character could have 18 dex and wisdom, giving him a solid 18 armor class. But for some godforsaken reason, they decided to give him 16 strength. He has a bunch of darts. Again, just give them javelins. Why would you give them darts? And a short sword for no reason? Why wouldn't you give him a quarterstaff so that he can do more damage than his punches? They gave him a rope of climbing, which is kind of pointless for a monk. Monks are really good at climbing already. His speed is 40 feet. He can dash and step of the wind to climb 120 feet on a wall. There is no reason for him to have a rope of climbing. He can just be the rope of climbing. Again, proficiency with the disguise kit and a 4G kit and mason's tools, but he doesn't have any of those. Mason's tools in a cave might actually be pretty useful, but why give him those? That would make him good. Next we have Russell Berrydust, the only guy with a last name, and honestly, you can't really go wrong with a wizard. He's got a cloak of elvenkind, helps him to be sneaky, that's fine I guess. Tensor's floating disc for carrying heavy stuff. He's an evocation wizard to make his fireball better. I mean, he's a wizard. You can't really knock a wizard. But what I can knock is Westlock. By the gods, is this character terrible. So she's a fiend warlock. Alright, very generic. Tiefling fiend warlock, great. She's got reasonable stats, 18 charisma, okay, not bad. Again, didn't buy studded leather for no reason, could have had a lovely 15 AC, but they gave her a +1 longsword, which is unbelievably bad. There is absolutely no reason to do this. Take Dunil's +1 dagger and give it to Westlock. Like, I can understand her wanting a backup melee weapon, but you need to give her a finesse weapon. She's not gonna hit shit with this. She has a -1 strength. They also gave her the Thirsting Blade Eldritch Invocation so that she can use that lovely +1 longsword with a total of +4 to hit at level 9. And Eldritch Smite, they've built a melee character without giving her the Hexblade Pact that she needs. They even gave her Pact of the Blade, which is basically completely useless for her. This would be a great character if they just made her a Hexblade, or even just give her a dagger instead of a longsword, and then she can dual wield daggers. That would actually give her some pretty decent damage. Main hand +1 dagger, you hit, you get the extra damage from Hex, then you Thirsting Blade and strike again. Like a +8 to hit bonus is not bad at level 9, that's reasonable. She's got like some pretty bad spells, like Witch Bolt is really weak. I don't like Witch Bolt at all. If you're going into melee, I think you definitely want Armor of Agathis. Armor of Agathis is like the spell for a warlock that wants to mix it up in melee. 25 temporary hit points and 25 frost damage anytime anyone hits you. That's huge. That's gonna do way more than any of this other crap. I'd like to also point out that in the adventure, running it as a tournament, which is what these characters are basically for, you only get 1 short rest, meaning that the warlock is gonna be at a big disadvantage. They only get to use 4 spells. So those spells better be really damn good. Save yourself the agony. Don't pick Westlock unless your DM allows you to swap out a couple spells and take the Hexblade instead of Fiend. In case you were curious as to what the adventures from old school D&D look like in this module, these are basically the character sheets for the 1976 tournament module. We have Cathartic and Ethelred, the 7th level cleric and 8th level fighter. He has a +4 magical shield. That is an insane magic shield. I love that he has an axe, so they kept that accurate. See, 5 javelins. Oh, these are javelins of lightning bolts. Oh my goodness. This is the thing, is that in old D&D, it wasn't your class abilities that made you powerful. You just got tons of magic items. And that was kind of cool in my opinion. Of course, you have the magic spells for Cathartic here, Cure Light Wounds, Silence, Remove Curse, and here we have Westlock, who became a terrible warlock in the remake. This is an elf 4th level fighter, 9th level magic user. So this was a multi-classed character. Got Confusion, Ice Storm, Fireball, Hold Person, Web, a couple of Charm Persons, that's an interesting spell selection. And he's got a +3 dancing sword, so that thing can like fight alongside him while he's casting spells. That is pretty cool. These are basically +8 bracers of defense. That's a great magic item. Potion of Levitation, Scroll of Conjure Elemental, Magic Missile, and Sleep. So he's even got a couple of scrolls, so he doesn't just have his spells, he also has some extra scrolls of magic that he can cast. And then this is Hawkerbrecht, which wasn't made in the 5e version. There were no like pure casters. Westlock was as strong of a caster as you were getting in the original module, but they wanted him to be able to fight too, so they made him also a multi-classed 4th level fighter. And this is a weird hybrid 4th level fighter, magic user, and 5th level thief. Kind of a weird stat spread, only 13 intelligence with 17 charisma, so I think it was likely that this character was rolled in the old school way where you didn't swap any of the stats around. It's got a +2 magic sword, boots and cloak of Elvenkind, so great for hiding. He's got a bag of holding, holds up to 2,000 GP weight. I think that's like 40 pounds or something like that. Potion of plant control, a ring of fire resistant, and a scroll of time stop. That is one of the most powerful spells in the game, and they gave a pre-generated character a scroll of time stop. This is the kind of crazy stuff that you see in old versions of D&D that you don't see in modern D&D, which I kind of love. And look at how many freaking languages these guys speak. That's insane. Now, he doesn't have the overpowered braces of defense, so his AC is only 7. This guy gets into melee, he's getting crunched by something. 28 hit points is a decent chunk, but it's not enough to save you against like a dragon or something. Even the swords, they have like intelligence, right? Basically all magic swords back in the day could talk and had like goals and stuff. Detects shifting walls and rooms. It can make you fly. It sees invisibility and detects gems. So this is a great sword to have on an adventure like this. You can find secret doors and treasure and invisible stuff. And then here we've got Dunil, which is the female halfling thief that was made in the 5th edition version. She has a magic dagger, so maybe that's why they did it. It's consistent with what she was carrying previously. But back in the day, thieves could only use like daggers and simple weapons. And I guess they spread the magic items out and gave the rope of climbing to the monk instead. Got a ring of water walking, actually very useful in this dungeon. I love that she or he, it's not specified in this one, is carrying a wineskin and a flask of poison. That's great stuff, good flavor right there. Then we've got Flemin, who is a dwarf fighter. He's a lot weaker than Ethelred in terms of level. Ethelred has 8th level and 52 hit points, whereas Flemin is only 6th level and 29 hit points, but he has 18 strength, which is kind of a huge deal. Having a character with really high strength means that they're getting massive bonuses to hit and damage back in the day. If you look at Ethelred with 16, he's only getting +1 to hit, whereas Flemin gets +3. And he's got a magic crossbow of speed, interesting. 18 magical +2 bolts, a +3 shield, and just a hammer. He doesn't have any fancy magic melee weapons or anything, but he does have a potion of speed. That's pretty good. So that guy became this. I guess that's maybe why they decided to give him strength, because Flemin was really strong back in the day. I don't know why they made him a monk. Just make him a barbarian instead and give him high strength. That makes way more sense to me. And these are the pregens for the actual module that was released in the 80s. Still got Cathartic, Ethelred, Dunil, all these guys are still here, and their items are over here. They're pretty similar overall to what they had before. You can see their prepared spells down here. If you're wondering what the letters for race mean, it's human, dwarf, halfling, elf, half-elf, human. I like that there's 8 here. I think the original was designed for like 5 to 8 players of levels like 5 to 10, somewhere in there. It was a lot broader back then. I would really love to see an additional 2 or 3 extra pregen PCs with the module. Having just 6 is not enough. If you've got a full table of 6 players, they all just get handed a sheet of paper, and, you know, what if 2 people want to be a fighter? What if 2 people want to be a thief? I guess you could have multiples of the same character, but playing 2 clones of one another just feels really bad. So having like some alternate classes, like maybe a ranger who's also good at the roguey kind of things with like criminal background so they can pick locks, and either a paladin or a barbarian who can fill that fighter role. So if 2 people want to be warriors, they can. And I'd like to have a secondary healer. Like a life cleric is obviously going to be great to have, but what if someone wants to be a druid? It really wouldn't be that much extra work for them to include all of the core classes, and it would just be nice to see. So in summary, everyone, if you've got a player that doesn't have a character, give them Ethelred. He's going to be useful pretty much always. He's a big wall of hit points and high AC. Or give them Russell. I mean, Russell's a wizard. He has spells. This is always going to be very useful. And he's even good at sneaking. By the gods' mercy, do not play Flemin, and definitely do not play Westlock. Cathartic, also probably going to be pretty solid. She's a cleric, she's got 18 armor class. There's a lot to like here. Even without Spirit Guardians, she's still going to do some good work. And she's the only healer in the pregens as well, so she's extremely necessary to have if you don't have a cleric from some other source. Personally, I would just have people make their own characters. It's not that big of a deal. Or if I was going to run this with the pregens only, I would remake Flemin and Westlock for sure, and I would give Dunil a magic hand crossbow. That would pretty much fix her character. She would be pretty good then. If you'd like to know more about Tsojcanth and the lore behind it, check out my video that I did recently. There's a link around here somewhere. Thanks very much for watching. Please do the old like, share, subscribe stuff. There's more Caverns of Tsojcanth stuff coming. I meant to do an entire DM guide for the original module, but I got really sick and wasn't able to record anything until recently, so keep an eye out for that. Stay safe out there, adventurers, and have a great day.